The demand for good project managers is always on the rise, and the field has grown extensively over the years. Look at healthcare. In the last 5 years, the U.S. healthcare sector showed a 17% increase in project-oriented jobs, the most considerable growth rate compared to other industries. Among the other sectors that are adopting a project-based model, education, publishing, and entertainment are worth mentioning. Project management is a critical aspect of every organization. How a project manager, or PM, handles their work directly impacts the success of a business. PMs are the ones who make sure everything goes as planned and gets a team back on track during unexpected events. It is an important position that comes with rewarding work and a generous salary. But how do you become one? We'll get to that. But first, you need to understand why project management is so important. I'm Cecilio Mills, and I'm here to tell you efficient project management in an organization cannot be overemphasized. A good PM ensures each aspect of the business runs smoothly. Project management empowers employers and employees to deliver better results and directly impacts the organization's bottom line. It allows team members to focus on the proper work simultaneously, helping everyone stay on track, within budget, and time constraints. Here are 4 key benefits that stem from good project management. First, improved communications. When done right, project management makes internal communications more accessible and more efficient. Working within multiple departments or teams can be challenging. Still, with good project management, you can increase transparency, simplify collaboration, and ensure accountability. Second, track performances. Through project management, businesses can utilize data from past projects to see where their teams can make improvements along with what they are actually doing well. Measuring your key performance indicators, or KPIs, allows you to track and understand the ways your team performs over each project. This can lead to operational improvements too. Third, saving time and money. Well-planned projects allow your team to deliver their work within budget and schedule. A good project manager maps out the entire project roadmap, tracking commitments, deadlines, and projected spending to reallocate resources where necessary. This prevents project delays and overspending. And fourth, making better decisions. When you can see the details of each project your business takes on, you understand what to prioritize, where resources are going, and if the business is moving closer towards its goals. Project management allows you to discover problems before they become issues by making decisions based on actual data. So what do project managers actually do? Well, now that you've learned the importance of project management, let's find out 3 things: how people become PMs, how you become a qualified one, and we'll begin with what PMs do. If you are interested in becoming a project manager, or better yet, a highly qualified one after watching, click the button and subscribe to this channel. Then visit ceciliomills.com and follow me on social media using the links to get the latest project management training by myself, a skilled teacher, project management coach, and organizational consultant. Okay, let's discuss our 3 points. Becoming a PM, a qualified one. First, let's begin with what a PM does, because if you ask a project manager what they do, they'll probably reply with, "What don't I do?" Defining a PM's role in an organization can be challenging, since they are involved in different parts of each project from start to finish. Their responsibilities range from measurable things like budgets and planning to less tangible ones like leadership and support given to their teams. It really depends on the industry, company, job function, and project type. So here are 6 primary duties that answer the question, what does a project manager do? Planning projects is the most obvious. Let's dive into this duty first. PMs define the range of a project and ensure that it is within the scope of key stakeholders' expectations while still being linked to long-term strategic goals for the company. There are 2 points in time where the project manager creates an outline of the plan and discusses the timeline, budget, and required resources. The first is the beginning, where the goal or objective and success criteria are developed, along with high-level constraints and the PM's authority level. This is known as chartering or scoping. Once complete, the PM moves on to the second point, known as scheduling or project planning. And this is where the detailed plan is created that is executed by the team. After planning, the second duty is resourcing projects. Once the initial plan is in place, PMs look at 3 primary resources to make projects successful: people, time, and money. These resources are limited, and a project success relies on a project manager allocating them efficiently. PMs are responsible for effectively identifying and acquiring resources. This includes managing the procurement process for those resources: machines, materials, supplies, physical locations, and technology needs, in addition to people. PMs ensure these resources remain allocated throughout the project lifecycle and help to refine their needs in the case of changes. They also help develop the capability of resources to continually improve during delivery. So now that the project has been planned and staffed, the third duty of PMs is to manage the overall project. Projects rarely go as planned, no matter how well the plan is. PMs track resources and deadlines closely to tackle any issues quickly and efficiently. They must maintain flexibility to make changes to the plan at a moment's notice to keep the team on the right path. Ultimately, creating transparency and accountability for team deliverables and resolving conflicts between stakeholders while managing their expectations becomes the daily focus. At some point, the project must be delivered, the fourth duty. One of the most specific responsibilities of a project manager is to deliver the finished project within budget and on time. Yes, PMs are accountable for planning, resourcing, and managing a project towards successful delivery. But good project managers provide stakeholders what they really need, not what was simply requested. This goes back to the ability to accurately scope out the project, then define a definition of done with detailed success criteria. This gives them the ability to manage stakeholder expectations throughout the project, including the teams. PMs don't operate in a vacuum, so it's essential to know what people need and expect, including the team, to ensure everyone gets what they want on the path towards delivery. Okay, PMs plan, resource, manage, and deliver projects, but delivering success continuously requires a project manager to analyze or review their projects. Once the project is delivered, there's one more crucial step: reviewing it with the team, the fifth duty. The project manager and the team who worked with them will review and analyze how things went and uncover ways to improve upon best practices for future projects. Nowadays, this process happens multiple times throughout the project lifecycle to make on-fly adjustments, rather than waiting until the end. Known as retrospectives, they look at the operational aspect of how the team interacts with each other and is more focused on the people instead of the product. Now, if done and utilized correctly, PMs can take experiences and lessons learned and use this information to deliver faster and smoother on the next project. Now, in addition to analyzing, let's not forget motivating the team, the sixth duty. It's the significant aspect of sustained excellence throughout the project lifecycle. Now, this essential and often overlooked responsibility of a project manager is to keep the team motivated and on track. Understanding what motivates different team members and how to navigate conflict allows project managers to support their team feeling valued and happy, which leads to better productivity. PMs are responsible for engaging team members to perform their duties timely and adequately, and this requires empathy, communication, leadership, persuasion, and consensus building. These are the soft skills you constantly hear about in great leaders, and project managers are no doubt leaders in their companies. Everyone is kept happy and motivated, then PMs are perceived as successful and rewarded for a job well done, irrespective of the outcome. Now, you've learned what a PM does: planning, resourcing, managing, delivering, and analyzing projects, including motivating the team. So let's discuss point number 2. How do you become a project manager? You're this far into our lesson. You understand the importance of project management, and you know what a project manager is responsible for. Now you want to know, how do you become one? Well, let me tell you. There are 2 different ways people become project managers: the chosen path and the accidental path. Let's start with the chosen path. Some people seek out a career in project management. They learn about the profession and subsequently seek out roles and qualifications or degrees relating to project management. Now, these folks may move on from being a team member on a project to becoming a project coordinator, assistant project manager, project engineer, or a role within a PMO, aka project management office, such as a project analyst or project controls technician. Now, eventually, they become and move on to a project manager. Then there's the accidental path. These are the non-project manager PMs who manage projects as part of their work. People who work in marketing, web design, production, or even paralegals are typically viewed as project managers, but they manage projects as part of their day-to-day operations. These folks may end up becoming full-time PMs as their skill sets increase and more lucrative opportunities present themselves to move from their traditional roles. However, keep this in mind: for any PM, regardless of path chosen, there are 10 critical aspects they must learn along the way to becoming a full-time professional PM. understanding project scope and breaking down work to satisfy the goal. Integration or change management of deliverables, plans, and project documentation. Schedule management and schedule control based on time constraints. Communication and work transparency to ensure that everybody knows what's happening at all times. Risk management, threats to avoid, transfer, and mitigate, or opportunities to exploit, share, and enhance. Cost estimation and cost control based on budgetary constraints. Resource estimation, resource allocation, resource control, and team development. Quality assurance and quality control of deliverables, documentation, and plans. Procurement and contract management, including negotiations, mediations, arbitrations, or if necessary, litigation. Stakeholder analysis and engagement for dangerous, dependent, and definitive stakeholders with varying levels of power and influence. Now, knowing and having the ability to perform these 10 aspects help to become an actual project manager. Now for our third point, becoming a qualified project manager. You've learned what PMs do, and you've learned how most people become one. So what does it mean to be qualified? Developing into a well-qualified project manager takes time and training. You need experience handling difficult challenges. Scenarios like shortened project durations, difficult sponsors and stakeholders, stripped down budgets, and various issues like changes and scope creep. In addition to experience, the soft skills we spoke about earlier need to be developed. Some people naturally acquire high levels of emotional intelligence by the time they're in position to become PMs. Others attend workshops, take certification courses, have mentors, and do all they can to absorb skills like empathy, negotiation, and conflict management. Now, maybe your sights are set on becoming a PM, or perhaps you've already become an accidental project manager and want to pursue it as a career. Either way, getting certified is your next step. Obtaining a formal qualification for project management is one of the best ways to gain more opportunities and earn a higher salary. Now, these trainings will also introduce you to new frameworks, methodologies, tools and techniques, or best practices that you might not have known about. Let's discuss these. The leading organization for waterfall project management is the Project Management Institute, known as PMI. They offer the Project Management Professional, or PMP. It's the most recognized credential for project managers. Obtaining a PMP credential is the best way to build your project management portfolio of professional development and move up the ladder in an organization. Additionally, IPMA, the International Project Management Association, and Prince 2 in the United Kingdom are a couple others that have some clout in the waterfall world. Then there's Agile, and you've likely heard the term. For Agile, the prevalent organizations offering credentials are Scrum Alliance, Scrum.org, and VM.edu, or VM.edu. Scrum is a framework utilizing an agile mindset for developing and sustaining complex products. Certified Scrum Master and Certified Product Owner are the leading credentials for these. For larger organizations, SAFe, or SAFE, or Scaled Agile Framework, is a set of organizational workflow patterns for implementing agile practices at an enterprise scale. This framework is a body of knowledge that includes structured guidance on roles and responsibilities, planning and managing the work, and upholding values. Within SAFe, there are various credentials one can earn. Now, many project managers have a notoriously difficult time getting their certification, but exams don't have to be as challenging as they're made out to be. The right instructor makes all the difference. Stop struggling with thick study guides, poor teachers, weak classroom deliveries, and out-of-date materials. Become a part of the best certification training with my PMP and Agile Masterclasses. They're the only training courses to offer your money back if you don't pass the exam on your first attempt. Look, don't be part of the 40% of people that fail their next exam. Visit CecilioMills.com to get started and choose the class that works best for you, virtual or in person. So let's sum it all up. Project management as a profession is on the rise. The Program Management Improvement and Accountability Act, or PMIAA, is the Reform Act signed into law November 2016. Unanimously passed by the House and Senate, then signed into law by President Obama, the PMIAA reforms federal program management policy by creating a formal job series and career path for program and project managers in the federal government. Think about that for a second. It's only been 5 years since the federal government recognized project management as an actual career. And with that said, the importance of project management keeps growing in almost every field. Project management is delivering value to businesses. Today, project-oriented approaches are being used by those industries where it traditionally didn't exist. So the next time you run into a project manager, or better yet, when you decide to become one, remember this: we all need people who can deliver better results by improving communications, tracking performances, saving time and money, and making better decisions. Now that you know what a project manager does, how to become one, and how to become qualified, what are you waiting for? See how we make project management easy by subscribing to this channel. Click the button, then follow me on social media and visit CecilioMills.com to level up on all things project management. Create solutions, adapt mindsets, think fluidly.